ourselves, one of my favorite topics, and in discovering how when we embrace the need for a change in our life, for a new path, we find ourselves in a voyage of self-discovery. Our next story of reinvention features a very interesting man who is enjoying the fruits of his creative labors, a very hard-working and well-paid Hollywood screenwriter. But then he decided to take one of those volunteer vacations. I've always been intrigued by those volunteer vacations. He went to Tanzania and found himself doing a breathtaking rewrite of his own life story. Take a look at this.
I'm a writer. I live in California. I do some writing for TV and film. That's who I am. These are some emails that I wrote to my family. The highlight of my trip thus far was the Tuna Hockey Center for Street Children. These kids have nothing, nothing, and they are the happiest beings on the planet. The kids are runaways, orphans, or abandoned children. The 9 that I bonded with have no family at all. They're completely orphaned and have nowhere to go. Coleman has an amazing smile. When he was 6, his mother brought him to the bus stop, said, "Wait here for me." He waited a week. She never came back. The kids specialize in dance and acrobatics. They practice for hours each day. They are so disciplined, it's amazing. My fantasy is for them to fly here and be able to see a Cirque du Soleil show. I mean, I'm amazed when I see a Cirque du Soleil show, and so is everyone. Imagine these kids. They have no idea that's out there. I mean, they have no clue. And then to be able to study, they would immediately want to learn everything they saw. So to be able to spend a week studying with professional acrobats, that's what I really want for them.
Please welcome Scott Pfeiffer. Okay, I have to go back and ask the first question. Why did you take a volunteer vacation?
You know, I've always thought volunteer work was important. I'd volunteered at nursing homes and worked for the Starlight Foundation, granting wishes to children who are ill. And I hadn't done anything in a while, and I'd read a magazine article about volunteer vacations, and I didn't really know what it was. And I think the first time I went and looked it up online, I found trips to go study turtles or to measure the rain, you know, the rainfall somewhere in South America. And it wasn't quite what I wanted to do, and I put it aside. And then, as I started to learn more about Africa, I think it's when I saw the movie Hotel Rwanda.
Oh, that movie was so powerful.
And I walked out of there feeling really shameful, like guilty, because I thought, well, gosh, I was an adult when that happened. Like, that was just during the Clinton administration. How come why am I just learning about this now in a Hollywood movie? Something's wrong here. And I thought, well, you know, I can take time off, and why not go and do a volunteer vacation somewhere? So I went online, typed in volunteer vacation Africa, found this great organization, Cross Cultural Solutions, and I said, just put me where you need me.
And how did a white boy like you bond?
A bald white boy.
Exactly. That's very scary.
But they've never seen this before.
I know. We're talking white.
Mr. Clean comes to Africa.
How did you bond with these little African kids?
Well, you know, at the time I didn't speak their language, but you don't need to. When they were so excited to meet, the people of Tanzania are just really lovely people and very warm and inviting, so they take you in.
I love that you said that they had absolutely zero zip zilch. physical comforts, not even the basic necessities, but they're the happiest.
They are the happiest children I've ever seen. And I brought a book of acrobatic poses that a friend of mine had given me right before I left. She said, here, take this with you. Maybe it'll help. So
maybe.
Right, maybe it'll help. And I brought it on the first day, and I opened it up. And in Africa, and certainly with the children that I met, learning, it's like candy to them. I mean, here in America, kids want iPods and stuff. In Africa, they just want an education.
And they said that, too, though, when she opened her school, remember?
Yeah, and it's
the
so
kids
true.
here want sneakers. Kids there want uniforms so they can go to school.
Well, here it's the law. You have to send a child to school. In Africa, it's a luxury.
Yeah.
So I brought this book that had things that was new to them and they hadn't seen before. And so they started immediately, ripped open the book and started copying the acrobatic poses and wanted me to teach them. And I'm like, well, I didn't write the book. I just brought the book. But I helped them, you know, sort of mimic some of the poses. And so right away we became best friends. And they thought, oh, this guy's, you know, going to be good for us.
I'd pay to see you do a cartwheel.
I'd pay to see me do a cartwheel.
And what did you do with them while you were there? Then you realized that
you can go there.
Acrobatics was the way?
Well, that's how this shelter has already been set up. It's an art-based shelter, and they use it as a, you know how the arts can be so therapeutic for children, and so they use drama and music and acrobatics and dance as a way to rescue children from the streets, as a way to give them self-esteem, to work through any emotional problems they have. And especially acrobatics is you have to work together, you have to become a team.
Such a teamwork thing.
They end up forming a family, which is something none of these kids have ever had, so it's really the greatest gift that you can give them. And so I just wanted to encourage that. And I said, these kids need to be able to come to the United States, and this is such a great, happy Africa story. It needs to be shared with the world.
That's a gorgeous story, and you think that it's like, what was the kids' reaction when they came? But the other side of it, to me, is like, after you experience something so fulfilling in Africa, what was it like then for you to come back to Hollywood and the superficiality of that? And did it make your work seem less valuable?
It did. I couldn't come back and just come up with the next TV show idea. It just wasn't important anymore because once
you've been stretched.
Everyone said, you know, you're going to have a life-changing experience. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I mean, what does that mean? You know, I didn't even know what that meant. But sure enough, you come back and you really do become a different person because you've seen that.
I want to go to the performance clip now. You got
I brought the kids over, so that was my dream to bring them over here.
And I can't imagine.
Yourself?
I got a corporate underwriter, Beachbody, is a fitness company, and they agreed to sponsor the trip. And I got Cirque du Soleil involved, and they said they would train the kids while we were here. I brought them to schools, where you can see they're performing now for a school in Santa Monica. And kids in America reacted so positively toward them.
But what was it like for these kids that had never seen anything?
I picked them up at the airport. They just wanted to know, you know, if you've been to Los Angeles, you go to LA airport and you're on the 405, cars and buildings. They kept saying, Pfeiffer, where are the people? Where are the people?
They call you Pfeiffer?
Yeah, Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer.
They can't quite say Pfeiffer.
I want to know how this changed you. I mean, your whole demeanor since you sat down in the very beginning has now become
animated.
Yeah, even how did this change you?
It's opened me up to a whole new world, and it really just, your heart is full when you're doing this kind of work.
We're talking about reinventing ourselves and about transformations, and this is the kind of thing that we have our show here on the Hallmark Channel for. And if you want to find out more about Scott's Foundation for these African children, please log on to faithstreams.com and then click on Naomi's New Morning. Thank you so much for being a perfect example of this, and you too, my friend.
I'm no Mr. Clean, but I'm trying.
Up next, you know, sometimes reinvention can be just as simple as revamping your style. You don't have to go to Africa and change people's lives. Celebrity stylist Dana White is going to show you how to work with the clothes that you've already got.